All right, today we are diving headfirst into one of the internet's most unique territories, a blog called crabtree.biz. You got to think of it as this living, breathing digital scrapbook that's mapping out a whole universe of wild, interconnected ideas in real time. Now, I get it. Your first look at this blog probably feels like you're staring into a hurricane of symbols, hyperlinks, and really esoteric stuff. It's a lot. And honestly, that's kind of the point. It's like you're seeing a direct feed from a mind that's processing this constant, insane stream of digital info.
Okay, so let's actually try to make sense of this. Because buried in all that chaos, the blog actually gives you a key, a map to its own madness, you could say. Its whole worldview is built around 3 core pillars, and that's how we're going to navigate this whole thing.
So here they are. First, this fascination with hidden spiritual knowledge. Second, a huge skepticism of any official story. And third, this forward-looking obsession with technology and what's coming next. We're going to use these 3 themes as our guideposts and take a little tour through each one to see how it all connects. The first pillar, and honestly it's the biggest one, is this deep dive into esotericism. You know, the search for hidden spiritual knowledge, the kind of stuff that really challenges what we think we know about history and religion. It's all about looking for the invisible systems that might actually be running the show.
And what's cool is the blog kind of defines this for us. It really zeroes in on traditions like Gnosticism and Hermeticism. Basically, these are all about getting direct, personal knowledge of the divine, usually by digging into texts and ideas that, let's just say, didn't make it into the final cut of mainstream history.
Okay, let me give you a perfect example of this in action. One of the big recurring themes on the blog is this totally wild analysis of ancient texts that just completely flips the script on the story of Noah's Ark and the Great Flood. So, the central question it asks is this: what if the flood wasn't a rescue mission at all? The blog digs into this idea that it was actually a planned event to, and I'm quoting here, terminate the failed Adamic race, basically original flavor humanity, and replace it with a whole new, engineered bloodline. So the big takeaway from this worldview is that the so-called corruption was never actually wiped out. In this reading, Noah isn't even human. He's an angelic hybrid. The mothers of the Nephilim, the giant offspring of angels and humans, they stick around as cursed sirens. You've got a giant named Og literally clinging to the outside of the ark for dear life. And forbidden DNA gets smuggled on board. So the old world wasn't erased, it was just strategically rebooted.
Okay, now let's jump to the second pillar and see how this all builds. This is where that same deep skepticism about hidden ancient systems gets pointed directly at our world, right here and now, our politics, our society, everything.
The blog tears apart current events, but it's not just looking at the facts. It's searching for what it calls ritual resonance. It's looking for patterns in numbers, in names, in locations, anything that hints at a hidden script playing out right under our noses.
And this slide is a perfect breakdown of that method. There's a post that analyzes the public execution of a political figure, Charlie Kirk. It breaks the whole event down into these symbolic pieces: the meaning of his name, a manhunt that lasts exactly 33 hours, the Masonic significance of the killer's name. The argument is that this wasn't random violence. It was a planned Masonic ritual sacrifice.
And the same lens gets applied to huge phenomena, like QAnon. The blog's take isn't that it's just a political movement. It frames it as a super sophisticated, high-tech occult operation, like a psychological game designed to take all this anti-establishment energy and just channel it into waiting. Basically, a way to neutralize any real threat to the system.
All right, on to our third and final pillar. This one looks to the future. It's all about taking that same hunt for hidden systems and applying it to technology, to the crazy transformative forces that are reshaping our reality as we speak.
And the blog is totally obsessed with these big frontier ideas. The explosion of artificial intelligence, this theoretical point of no return called the singularity, and the really mind-bending idea that our entire reality might just be a giant computer simulation.
But it's not all serious doom and gloom stuff. There's this playful, very chronically online sense of humor running through it, like this little snippet from a chat with an AI. It's asked a simple question, and its standard reply seems to hint at this deeper conspiratorial knowledge. It's the perfect little example of the blog's default mode, always suspecting there's a hidden system at play.
So, you're probably wondering, how in the world does ancient biblical history connect to Masonic rituals, which then connects to future AI? Well, the blog itself tells us it's all about finding the single thread that ties all of these seemingly random things together:
At the very, very core of it all, this entire project is fueled by one thing: a relentless search for the unseen forces, the hidden rules, the secret structures that are shaping our world from behind the curtain.
It's a search for the ancient spiritual systems that might have set the course for human history and our relationship with whatever's out there.
It's a search for the secretive political systems that might be scripting world events and controlling us through ritual and psyops.
And it's a search for the brand new technological systems, AI, simulations, that could be on the verge of governing reality itself in ways we can barely even comprehend.
And when you have this worldview, every single piece of information becomes a potential data point, which kind of explains the sheer volume here. I mean, the archives show more than 2,600 posts in just the first 10 months of 1 year. That is a lot of data.
So, the big idea to take away here is that in this way of thinking, there's no separation between things. A weird, haunting story about a drowned carnival can sit right next to a super detailed geopolitical analysis. Because in the Chronically online algorithm, it's all part of the same pattern. Everything is a clue.
And that leaves us with the one final, unspoken question that the entire blog seems to be asking. It pretty much sums up the whole philosophy. If everything is a clue, what's the puzzle we're supposed to be solving? It's a question that, I think, says a lot about our desire to find some kind of meaning in the absolute noise of the modern world. Something to chew on.